Chiwetel, I heard at the premiere yesterday, Billy Eichner said that he spoke to Nathan Lane before doing the role. Did you have the same sort of thing with Jeremy Irons?
I didn't actually. No, I didn't speak to. I mean, I know Jeremy Irons a little. I'm sure he would have been okay with me calling him up, but that didn't happen. No.
It's interesting because obviously a few of the characters, like we've got James L. Jones still playing a role, but obviously you're coming a new one. But the fact that it remained a British accent, was there a discussion about maybe always going to be British, or maybe doing something else? Because a lot of British actors do voiceover work and they do American voices. So tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, there was no. I didn't really have a conversation, with John. With Jon Favreau about what accent to use, and because I didn't really know, essentially. Like I didn't. It wasn't. The process, I think, was more like that. I was just going to work on the psychology, and we talked about that and the psychology of Scar and the reasons why he does the things he does, and sort of that kind of. And my interest was kind of just the kind of grounding of Scar and. And just sitting in within the kind of realism of what it was going to look like, and so just sort of coming at it from that angle. And so that was the kind of conversation, and then it was a question of just what came out, just what then happened once we started recording, and that was the voice that came out,
Do you think there's something in the fact that British accent is often associated with villains there? They were like, let's keep it.
Yeah, maybe. It's easy because I suppose there's something sort of mellifluous about it, and so then the kind of villainy can sort of slide out a little bit.
It's a very different look for Scar compared to obviously the original animation. Did you see it before you kind of started planning on how you're going to do the voice, or was it kind of you did the voice work and then you saw it afterwards? Did it influence you at all?
Yeah, it was kind of a back and forth thing because I was recording over a period of about a year, going back and forth. And so when I started, it was just text, and then I'd come back a little while later and it was sort of some drawings, and then come back and it was sort of animation, and then the fuller renderings and so on. And in that process, I could adjust not only what I was doing then, but also what I had done. So, and then I think the animators were working in the same kind of way, that they were like listening to what was being done and then kind of pulling. I mean, I think they had an idea of Scar, and then, but I think it was adjusting as things were going along, and that idea of him being kind of weathered and sort of beaten up and diseased in a way, by his mind and sort of tortured.
I don't know if sexy is the right word, but there's something about him in the original animation. This is like, no, he's been through some stuff.
Yeah, he's a complicated, beaten kind of,
Obviously, there's a Be Prepared as the song. How did you prepare?
Yeah, interesting.
For Be Prepared. Are you much of a singer yourself?
I mean, I like singing, I wouldn't call myself much of a singer, and Beyonce's also on the soundtrack. I don't know. I was just very excited by it, really. I was just excited about the song. I was excited about the arrangement because, again, it just sort of sat within the context of what we were doing, and that sort of realism and grounding that character in something that was very intense and again, just kind of broken and slightly beaten, and this being his one sort of rallying cry, it's the most important moment of his life. It's the bit that's going to set the world back into what he considers to be its correct order, with him at the top.
You are in quite a few Disney products, aren't you? So you're in Doctor Strange, this, Maleficent. There's obviously kind of a bit of a debate going on about how much Disney is kind of taking over the release schedule. Do you have an opinion on what's going on about kind of indie versus these big releases coming out?
Well, I think that, you need the kind of balance in cinema, and it is true that, the bigger films, are what sustain, in many ways, the industry, especially as at the moment where the industry is quite challenged, by obviously, in terms of cinema, by obviously other outlets and streaming and stuff, which is all amazing and it's all terrific, but it sort of puts a lot of pressure on different things. So it's great that if we can continue to have a real surge of cinema and people being engaged in cinema in big movies, what that will also allow is for us to then also enjoy and engage with independent cinema and so on,